Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. And this is the week for or the time for your weekly astrological transits. This one goes from September 24th, I think. Yeah, 24th to 30th. We have a Mars Chiron opposition going on earlier in the week. And then we have Mercury trine Jupiter, but then later also Uranus. So that's really cool. And then we have the full moon coming in at 6 degrees Aries this week. So let me show you these charts and I'll take you through everything in great detail. Okay, hold on. Be right back. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know that KJ Styles' new book for next year, she has gifted us with a 40% discount, and the link to that is in my community section. I absolutely love this book. We have the new and full moon, all the astrological info, plus the eclipses, plus we have her essential oils recommendations and meditations, emotional detox rituals, what's up in your astrology chart. There's so much here. And then also she showed me the hot link for the 2023 calendar as well. And I put that in the link too. So you can get the last quarter of this year. Boy, it's coming up soon, isn't it? So anyway, take advantage of that if you want. It expires on November 15th, so you might want to jump on that if you're interested. So hold on, let me bring this down, straighten things up here, and get started in this week. Okay, so what a week. We're starting off with the moon on Sunday. So Sunday the 24th, 7 a.m. The moon's coming in at 24 degrees of Capricorn conjunct Pluto. So every hour that clocks by joins up even tighter with powerful Pluto. It could bring up emotional issues that need to heal. But also it could be, because the moon, of course, rules the public, it could be a very challenging time for, corrupt and greedy politicians, corporate people, basically anyone who's been abusing their power. So, there's the thing to remember for this entire week is that we are building up to the full moon. And so we're going through the last, the moon's really important to focus on this week because we're in that waxing gibbous phase. And it can be really beautiful where it gives you more forward momentum. It can have you feeling more positively geared, and so you can put yourself out there more, where you're trusting yourself more and you're more hopeful and maybe even have more faith, hopefully, in yourself, maybe believing in yourself more, especially since, the moon has gone through Sag already. But it can also be, if the darkness is coming through from other people, you can have some aggressive energies coming. So you're going to want to stay as peaceful as you can. It could be a loud kind of a week. Yeah, that's the challenging part. But just suffice to say, for this entire week, and I wanted to put this at the beginning of the video so that you can get the most out of it. Whenever we're in that waxing gibbous phase, we can, it's an overcoming energy where we can overcome any false beliefs that we've had, running our lives, the tapes that we go through, the imprints from past lives can be focused in on, and that's especially true with Mercury still. It's in the shadow phase until we get, I think, to 22 degrees, something like that. But Mercury and Virgo can be very helpful for that. Maybe we're even integrating something with, with Mercury going through that third decan of the 30 degrees of the sign. So, and especially because it went back to 8, and now it has to make its way 8 degrees. It stopped, stationed direct, and then now it has to make its way to the 22 or 21, something like that. I think it was 21 and 55 minutes, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and it went direct on the 15th, but it's not going to be, it always takes a couple of weeks, so it's going to be all the way to the end of this week before we feel like we're out of that shadow phase. And with Mercury, we definitely feel that. But the good news is, the sun's in Libra, so that should help. That should bring through more justice. But if we're, like I was saying with the waxing gibbous phase, we might be a little bit more geared to focusing on our relationships, to see where we're dealing with maybe dependency and codependency dynamics, and we're trying to embrace the polar opposite of Aries. And with this stellium in Aries here, at the polar opposite of the Libra South Node, and Mars is cooking its way towards that South Node. Boy, that's coming in, and that's very powerful. So this whole dynamic going on here can really bring through the possibilities, especially when we get to that Aries full moon at the end of the week. It can bring through a lot more dynamic, a bit of a push in your ability to be very independent in relationship, because that's always, a tricky thing. Like, how do we find our way in relationship? Is it especially our receptive side, our feminine side always wants to receive what's going on around us. And when we do that, how does it feel? Like, how do you really feel when you're with another person, or which other persons make you feel most at home with yourself? Who reflects who you truly are back to yourself? Who doesn't? Like, who's projecting their baloney onto you? And so we're going to be finding our way leading up this last week before the full moon. It's gonna get intense, right? So it can be a lot more, and especially with, Libra, this whole polarity here, and then with the moon now in Capricorn, and up there, this whole dynamic of power dynamics, power plays, self-empowerment, all these things are on the table. In any way I look at it, I can look at it just from the moon to Pluto and squaring the nodes, or I can look at it at the north and south node with the Aries Libra dynamic. I can look at it with the moon and Mars in Libra. It's just, wherever I look, I see the propensity for maybe a deeper self, what's the right word? Self-reflection, self-analysis, making a paradigm shift because you're perceiving something from a much deeper level than ever before. And it maybe, and this is my hope, is that you are releasing any need to be perfect, and now I'm speaking to Mercury and Virgo, need to be perfect, need to be right, need to be useful, need to be, all these need to be's, right? Like, what if we can just let go of all of that and instead put our energy and focus into honing our craft, whatever it is, or developing some new tools for just mastering life in a whole new way. It's a good time when we're going through the waxing gibbous phase. It's always a good time to make adjustments. And yeah, we can always improve things and get things more perfect. And we make mistakes and we learn. And that's why I don't even really like the word mistake, because it's really just a learning opportunity. So as we're gearing up towards the full moon, this is, we're going to have the days of about the 20, let's see, 24, 25, yeah, about 2.5 days, every phase. So I would say up through the 26th, right? So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will be this place where we're shifting into fine-tuning something within. And then you can also see this yod. We do have the finger of fate, finger of God, whatever you want to call it. And just know that coming from Neptune down here to Uranus, so the two or one of the three major transpersonal planets, and then Aries, she's our dwarf planet. She's super powerful because she's holding space there for the courage of the feminine to come through in a big way. And she's conjunct the North Node. So we're all headed in that direction of the feminine fighting for independence, fighting for equality. That's the whole polarity here with the North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. We don't want dependency. Nobody wants dependency and codependency. We want autonomy. And, too bad we always have to fight for it. But this is playing out with everything. I mean, just look at the writer's strike, look at the United Auto Workers, look at this threat with the, government shutdown that's leading up to this. This week it's really on the table. It's, after the 30th. Now, please know that if you're on Social Security, that won't affect you, or, Social Security, Medicare, even SSI, that won't affect you because those are funded annually and it comes out of a different, trust. So, but with this finger of fate going on here, from Neptune to Uranus, so it's from Taurus to Pisces, there will be some shakeups and some breakthroughs where, there's an opportunity to have a real deep spiritual breakthrough as you're focused into what matters to you most. And I'm speaking to Uranus and Taurus, waking up to what is your path, your unique path. That only you can walk, only you can blaze that trail because it's for you only. Of course, we have friends, lots of friends and people with us, but whatever your personal path is yours personally. And with the other, so one side of this inconjunct quincunx here going to the South Node, and the same thing coming from Neptune. So the adjustments are pointing back to the past. So this is, I believe, an integrative type of a finger of fate. Because if we go back to the wisdom of the past and all of the relationships that we've been through and feel our way through our relationships, if we can reel ourselves back in time and feel what it was like, in certain relationships and what you learned about yourself in the relationship. And that can really help to integrate. Now, where we can run into trouble, where an adjustment would need to be made would be if, and I'm speaking now to a Libra aspect, because we have this stellium of Libra going on over here, right? And everything's cooking up to this, because we will have Mars, the Sun, we will have this very strong polarity going on to the Aries stellium over on this side. So it's going to be intense. It's working its way to be intense. So just imagine we're going to have the sun over here, the full moon will be over here. That's going to be all in there. So you'll see as we get going throughout the rest of the week. So, but anyway, to focus in on the Libra aspect of it, we will be, I think, seeing ourselves through our relationships more. And we're going to want to be careful about that, need to please, being like, Mr. or Ms. Nice, or, always have to be nice. If people need you, you have to jump, things like that. Maybe not. And then there might be a lot of triggers that come up due to the fact that we're going through all these different phases and challenges to justice and fairness. These are Libra issues, right? The push and the courage against injustice is the polarity that's really going on in this. So everything's heightening this week. And if you have this, need for everything to just be just perfect and nice, and don't make a scene in public, that kind of thing. Of course, if you're Lauren Boebert, maybe she needs a little bit of the other. I don't know. But in relationship, if you're not willing to stand up for yourself, think for yourself, and go in that direction, whether or not you have relationships backing you, then you will never individuate. This is about individuation. Uranus is about individuation, and in Taurus, so we are individuating based on our real needs, based on our what's the best word with this one? Principles. Based on our inner principles. And with Uranus, with trine up here to the moon and Pluto, we are going to have some powerful insights about what our real deepest, what our inner principles really, what they are. We're going to be discovering, I think, something new this week about ourselves. So I see this flow of energy here where there's not the stagnancy that we would, usually worry about with Taurus, like getting stuck, feeling stuck. And but if there's some pushy energy, nobody's going to like that, right? In your personal life, if that's happening, if somebody's pushing you, you're probably going to push back, is what I'm thinking here with this. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, okay, so we have this double sextile going on here to Neptune. All things point to Neptune. Neptune can be source energy, but it can also be that cultic, not Celtic, cultic. Cultish would be the way to look at it. It can be where people are just not, they don't have themselves yet, so therefore they're giving themselves away. But what are they getting caught up in? They're getting caught up in hatred. They're getting caught up in fear. I myself, I believe it's hatred at the bottom, and then the fear tries to cover up the hatred, and then there's that vicious circle. But bottom line is, if you're in hatred, you're in the wrong, you're going in the wrong direction. So with Uranus and Taurus, we have to allow for people to be different, and especially with Jupiter and Taurus as well, that would be the healing path, is just to allow people to go the direction they want to go. If they want to live in hatred, that's their choice. And that's especially true with this triple trine over here to Venus. So Aries over here is wanting to go in a direction, wanting to forge a new path, wanting to assert ourselves, right? We really do want to move forward. Now, if we're having trouble, it's easy to tap into our heart energy and go towards the things that you love the most. And that'll help you. That will help immensely, especially as Venus in Leo moves through this last 10 degrees, that last decan. We can have some experiences of trusting our hearts, because we've been through this before. This is just something in this lifetime that we have the opportunity to heal again. And then we also have, because of this aspect of the architect down to Venus, with Venus at like the bucket, the lever, the handle, the hinge. I love that Victoria said, could this point be like a hinge? Yes, good word, good keyword for that aspect. And the sextile goes up here to Mars. And see how Venus is at 19 degrees, Mars is at 18. So Leo to Libra, that can be very loving. And the Mars and Libra energy definitely wants equality, wants fairness, wants everyone to get along. But sometimes you have to let the person that is just wanting everybody to get along, you might have to tell them where you stand, right? You know what I mean? Like, remember back in the day when they were taking kids away from their parents at the border? That should push people to take a stand. Like, are you going to get on board with that or not? I said no. No way. And it's things like that. Things like that are brought to a head when we have... You know what? This chopstick looks crooked to me. I had to grab my other one. That brings things to a head. When you see something, remember Aries is geared to the head, the eyes. And you're seeing something, and then you're reflecting back with Libra, because the polar opposite is Libra, and you're going, wait, what are they doing? What are they doing? Here's what I'm seeing. What are they doing? What are they saying? And then does it jive with your moral compass, right? We don't need laws to understand what's right and what's wrong. That's within. So there could be things like that come up this week that we're seeing. And I'll talk about more about that as we get towards the full moon. So let's see. What else so the yod is happening all week long. We have that tight orb there to reflect back on the past relationship issues, past of noticing what people did. Do their actions match their words? That's always a good, that's a good way to figure out what a person's really made of, what they're really doing. Yeah, because of course, if your actions aren't matching your words, then, or whoever these people are, then they're just liars, right? If they're saying one thing to get you on board with them, but then they're doing another, then you know they're not trustworthy. So, yeah, that's sad, but it's often true. Okay, so what else? We have... Oh, I'll talk about this as the week moves on, because we have an exact one going there. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else for today. I think I can go ahead and move forward because these other aspects are lasting all week. So let's go to Monday. So Monday, we have the moon has crossed over Pluto. Things that were brought to a head are now cooling off, probably. But we still have, you can see the moon here in this aspect to the sun. And I mean, I clocked it at 4 a.m. If you get up really early, you'd have an exact, trine going on there. So maybe East Coast, it wouldn't be as early for you guys. But anyway, the sun trine the moon should be a nice flow of energy between... there's harmony going on here between Libra and Aquarius, because it can be more objective. With Libra, we're wanting to connect. We're wanting a relationship, or, making decisions based on relationship sometimes, but we're also wanting balance and fairness. And with the connection up to Aquarius, there can be some objecting, or some conversations where there's more objective, more of an objective approach to a situation. So, and other things with Aquarius could possibly be some new ideas that come through. And maybe this is the day that the new coronavirus, the new vaccine, that new one that's supposed to come out by the end of the month, maybe this is the day that it's released. I did read somewhere that, I think it's in Washington Post, that we can now get free tests from the government. So if you want to Google that and I think it was a government website where you could go and just order them, and they'll send, I think, 4. So that's helpful because they're a little pricey. And it definitely covered the new variant that the vaccine is supposed to be good for. So, there's, I'm thinking that's probably that. There's probably, because Aquarius rules science, so when the moon's in Aquarius, that's helpful. And of course, with Uranus and Taurus, the vaccines were invented, with this, because coronavirus came out. It takes 7 years for Uranus to get through one sign. So, of course, the beginning of the coronavirus happened during Uranus and Taurus, and then we've had new inventions to protect ourselves on many different levels. But it was certainly hell in the beginning, wasn't it? Okay, other Aquarius themes have to do with just being, unique, different. It can have us feeling more tolerant, or it can have other people feeling less humane and more bigoted, more racist. It's good for technology. It's not good for intellectual pride. It's good for AI. It's not good for not caring about humans, right? Not caring about the human touch. Like, who wants to watch movies or anything that's just AI? I mean, I don't know. I've never been into cartoons. Now, if somebody's doing cartoon art and their voice is behind it and they're talking me through how they came up with the with the artwork, and there's a person attached, then that's good. But not an AI voice? Like, to watch videos with AI voice over? Nope. No. Not for me anyway. So with the moon trine the sun in Libra, those are all the, from Aquarius to Libra, those are all the types of issues on the table. And you can also see that the sun is trining Pluto as well. So we're talking powerful manifestations that should be fair, hopefully. So maybe there'll be a breakthrough with the writer strike. Maybe something will come through with the United Auto Workers strike. I think the government shutdown threat and the debt ceiling, all of that, I honestly think that they're going to just flounder and mess around for all week, honestly. I think they're going to take it to the end, and maybe even days or a week past, or maybe even a couple weeks past. I mean, they've done it before. It's happened before. So, and it's just such a waste. This would be Pluto and Capricorn at its worst, because it's such a disorganization. It's like, instead of organized, it's disorganized. Okay, so let's see. What else for today with the moon? Well, let's see. Let's take it a couple hours ahead and see what happens. Take it throughout the day. Yeah, that's what I thought. So here's the square coming down to Jupiter. So there's, Jupiter expanding in Taurus. What do we really believe in about abundance? Those are, issues on the table. With the moon square in Aquarius, there might be some tit for tat kind of energy, and that could be the case too with Mars in Libra. Like, oh, you're going to do this? Okay, I'm going to do that. That type of just dualistic, when people do that. But then again, on another level, on a personal level, how about you just go in the direction that's best for you and send them lots of love. That's, I think, always the best way to work it. And then let's go together. So this is about 6 a.m. in the morning. Let's go forward even more. Because, as the hours go by, yeah, it's just tightening, tightening, tightening. And of course, at some point, there we go. So, whoops, let's go back 1 hour. So by 7 p.m., we have the moon squaring Uranus as well. So something may come to a head throughout the day. There could be a lot of good ideas in the morning and you're working through them. And then maybe by the evening there's a bit of a, there could be some more strength, or there just could be that you just wear yourself out working through all the problems and then just decide, oh, I'm just going to go to bed and forget about it. We'll look at it in the morning, right? It could be one of those issues. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. And again, with the moon aspects there, you can see 4 a.m., we still have the moon squaring Uranus. Just like I said, we woke up with it. It didn't go away in the middle of the night, but maybe we had some dream time guidance come through, because that's always a huge possibility with Neptune in Pisces. Heightened dreamed answers, more creative energy coming from the higher realms, and especially with the trine to Pluto that we have going on. Or I'm not sorry, not the trine, the sextile to Pluto that we have going on. I think until that first week of. No, that's the other. I'm thinking of this one here, the inconjunct back to the south node. That happens, I think, through December. Yeah, it is that first week in December. But the sextile up here to Pluto, that's only until October 22nd. So we want to keep working that as much as we can, because it's really helpful with manifesting. And then Pluto's going to go direct, I think, on the 10th, but it's still going to square the nodes until Christmas. Or no, that's again the first week. Yeah, sorry about that. So a lot's going to happen that first week in December when it comes to Pluto, Neptune. But between now and then, we still have, because the orb, will still be in effect, we still have this time, like here's the important piece of all that, to manifest from our spirits. And especially with Saturn in Pisces there, and the trine to the south node, and Mars coming together with the south node. This is going to be really good for building foundations. Saturn always helps us to build a foundation, but in Pisces, it's all about our spiritually sourced foundations, because with Neptune, to combine Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, up until at least October 22nd, we're going to have this powerful connection here to manifest from our spirits. And so just remember with that spiritual manifestation, just know that it's whatever you've been working on, whatever you really want and you're willing to work hard on every day, it's already built for you in the spirit world. You're just waiting. You're literally, we're in, it's like we're flopping around in this dualistic plane of existence on Earth, where we're waiting for things to just finally come through. And we just have to be patient, hold on to our faith, and not give up, and just keep working it. And that is the predominant features going on for the rest of this year. And beyond. Those are spiritual principles that never go away. So, okay, what else so the moon square Uranus, like I was saying, there's a tension field, but there will be some strength that comes through, because you're going to figure out what you really want and how to go after it, and who's going to go with you, and who brings in some good ideas to help you, or what ideas come through you when you're talking to someone else. You know how you can get ideas. It's like they said something and it made you think of something, and then you're like, oh, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that had you not had that conversation, right? These are all Libra and Aquarius themes when those things happen. I love it when that happens. And you can see that the moon is in the aspect of the architect here from the south node in Libra, so relationships where you feel a tight connection with, and the flow of intuitiveness that helps, open up. Because remember, Aquarian energy helps us to see things from a different perspective. It gets us out of a box, right? Like Capricorn can be the box. Saturn can be the box, but Aquarian energy is connected to Uranus, so it's like, whoa, no, look, we can do this a different way. Major breakthroughs happen with Aquarian and Uranian energy, with that consciousness and energy. It's fantastic. So with the aspect of the architect going on here, connecting to the north node and Aries especially, there is a real possibility that besides our own breakthroughs to move forward in courageous new ways, because Aries is all about, trusting your instincts and your positive self-assertion, and just trusting yourself. And so going towards that, it will the moon today really does support going towards that. And so what a perfect way to enjoy this last week before the full moon. Let's see, let me just go ahead and go forward. So Wednesday, you can see, I knew you could see it coming because the moon was headed towards Saturn. Well, it happened in the middle of the night, so that's good. Now, it may have brought through some dreamtime guidance, which would be also good, but I'm glad that it happened in the middle of the night because nobody had to go through feeling, well, if you had a downer dream, just chalk it up to just that dang moon did it. Let's blame it on the moon. But then again, maybe it's guidance, because downer dreams can help you remember something sometimes that you went through. And of course, because now we're really headed towards the full moon, it's just, it's whatever comes up, it's good. Just use it. Whatever information comes up in dream time, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, just try not to judge it as good, bad, or indifferent, and just use it. Use it to heal or use it to move forward. But generally, Moon-Saturn contacts are not always easy. Then again, just expect delays. Because it was in the middle of the night, I can't say that anymore, because by 4 a.m., usually you could expect delays with Saturn, but probably that was more, the day before, more on Tuesday, might have been more of a delay with things. But by 4 a.m. Wednesday, the moon is on the other side of Saturn by 5 degrees, and that separation is really just about gone. Within an hour, it's going to be gone. 6 degrees of separation is enough for me, that's for sure. And we have a little bit of a sesquisquare here to Mars, so it could be a little bit stubborn. Maybe it's like, oh, I don't want to get up. I'm pulling the covers over my head. I'm staying. I'm staying right here. And Mars and Libra's over here. Come on, we got to get up. And you're like, no. So there could be a little battle that way. Or maybe it's with a person. And then Mars is this 4 degrees of separation with the South Node. So we are definitely revisiting relationship territory. And my goodness, if you're a dirty politician or a dirty judge or a corrupt corporate official, or, these guys are not going to be doing well because there's so much energy into revisiting the past and what has happened in the past with this aspect, this dynamic going on here. And again, that finger of fate is pointing right at that South Node, and Mars is cooking his way there as well. So yeah, I can expect Sheldon Whitehouse to be on fire this next week. And he usually is anyway. He's probably the hardest working senator there we have right now. Let's see what else. I shouldn't say that, because I know there are so many people that are working hard behind the scenes, but they're just not saying, look at me, look at me. They're just doing their jobs. That's what Democrats tend to do. Meanwhile, you've got the Republicans just, well, I won't even go there. Let's stay positive here. So Mercury, with this inconjunct over here to Chiron, now that Mercury's made it a few degrees away, 17 degrees to 18 degrees, now we have this exact inconjunct. So there's an adjustment, because news is bringing out some details of something, again, from the past. And people are over here going, hey, wait a minute. What about us in that equation? What about me? If it's not on the news and you don't care about politics at all, and you're just looking at this personally, this could be figuring something out. The details, you've been tracking a pattern, you figured out how it's going, and now you can because you've got the details, you can make that adjustment to really move forward. And, for those of you out there who are going through your Chiron return, if you're between 50 and 52 years old, you're having your Chiron return because you were born with Chiron in Aries. And at this mid-degree, you are integrating past lifetimes of whatever healing needed to happen. So this can be a really beautiful time where if you work on the wounding, and the wounding that would come up would have something to do with, abandonment issues. If you don't abandon yourself anymore, if you let go of needing to be first, if you can let go of feeling left out and just don't leave yourself out, just love yourself through it. If you can let go of impulsiveness and slow down and just be very, very present with yourself, then all your gifts of being present can come through. All your gifts of truly mattering to yourself and knowing how much you matter, and the presence you share with other human beings when you're with them, all of that will come through for you. So it can be wonderful. So healing, Virgo healing, bringing in more of the spirit, the perfect spirit that you are, out and up for other people to understand and to be with and to admire. All of those things can come up. So that's great. Let's see, we have another inconjunct here coming from Uranus today up to the South Node. Oh, that's that leg. I'm sorry. That's nothing new. This is the Yod, the finger of fate. That's in that aspect there. So we already covered that. But basically, it does combine with the breakthroughs from the past relationships. And if you're letting go of what could come through for some of us to work through, is letting go of the old beliefs of it's me versus them, and know that we are all one. Inside we all have the essence of absolute love and our pure, peaceful type of power that is unique to each one of us, and however it comes through us is very, very unique. So that is just to remember that we all have that. We're not separate from anyone, but we are unique and different, if that makes sense. Like, it does feel a little bit like a paradox when I speak that way, I'm sure. But the thing is, I think the important point with all of that is just to remember that what we want for ourselves, like the spiritual law within this, is that if we want what we want for ourselves, we really need to want that same thing for others. Like, we shouldn't want to just corner the market on like peacefulness or uniqueness or whatever. That's just not, that wouldn't be any fun, would it? Not at all. And then another important piece with all of this dynamic too is that, Mars rules the North Node and Eris and Chiron, because Mars rules Aries, but then Mars is over here in Libra. So there's some energy dynamic breakthrough that, so many breakthroughs that could happen, as Mars moves every day closer towards the South Node. So I love it. That's actually really good. Let's see. I think that's it. No, actually, let me go through a few hours and see what happens with a little semi-square. Not too bad there. Yeah, 17:9. Okay, so at 8 a.m. Is that 8? Yeah. This font is so dang small. At 8 a.m., so we've got 9 degrees here, so we have an approaching opposition to Mercury. So that's beginning 8 a.m. Let's see how long it takes before it is exactly. I know, of course, it'll be all day. So 16, 17, 18, 17, one more. Yeah. So, yeah, all day long and all evening. The moon opposing Mercury can bring through breakthroughs that guidance brings through. Right? When the moon's in Pisces, we are more hooked up to our guidance. It can help us transcend something that was bugging us. Maybe we're working through some process. Maybe you're writing. Maybe you're working out a piece of music. Maybe you're doing any type of art. Maybe you're working on anything that you have had your head in for so long, because with Mercury and Virgo, we definitely have our head somewhere, right? Well, we always have our head somewhere, but with the opposition to the moon, there could be a breakthrough. So the hours all day long, all day Wednesday, especially with the encounter with the moon to Saturn, and then coming through headed towards Neptune, we definitely have the opportunity to bring in more divine order into our projects, and to use the intuitive flow that is coming through that can help you just get above the whole thing. It's Pisces energy is so good. Let me just go ahead to the next day, to Thursday. So there you can see it with the moon at 21. So now we're only 5 degrees away. Actually, a little more, about 4, about 4 degrees in essence there from Neptune. So now this is a heightened experience of empathy, sensitivity. Your visions may be more clear. You can get visions from your spirit and then imprint them into our manifestation abilities. Or some people can feel that longing for more inspiration and then just ask for it. Mercury and Virgo's over here going, well, you got to ask for it. You have to tell your guides and your guardian angels and your spirit team what you want. And if you don't know what you want, you can just ask them to inspire you. That's always nice too. So the main thing there is the moon and Neptune. So you've got a double whammy of that Piscean pure potential opportunities, and all things related to art and music, anything you want to devote yourself to. Maybe there's a breakthrough with an immigration policy. I did read that Biden decided to go ahead and, which is really good, give 470,000 Venezuelans that were already here, to give them, I guess, the opportunity to to have legal status. So they have, I think, like a temporary visa, and all they have to do is go through a couple, or maybe it's a lot more steps, but if they want to become citizens. So that's wonderful. Let's see, what else? With the moon here, you can see that it's in, because whatever aspect we have with Neptune, now the moon is picking up. So now the moon is sextiling Pluto, so there's opportunity to bring more power into your work, manifesting from your authentic self, because that's the best of Pluto and Capricorn. Standing up for yourself, being in your authority, working hard. Pluto's going to go direct soon, like I was saying. And then now the moon is also picking up the Uranian energy over here to bring through those new opportunities. I love this. This is great. And now also the Uranus is backed. Well, it's not Uranus. Uranus is really just sitting there. It's only going to move that a couple more degrees in its retrogradation process. But Mars is now closer to that south node, so that's why we have two of the inconjuncts, quincunx aspects going here. So everything I said about Uranus and the adjustments coming from the wisdom of the past, now Mars is there to help you like really move that energy and bring through that wisdom. There's something that we've learned about ourselves in relationship with others, and there's something that we've, some new things that we've, that I think what's happening also is politically, I think more justice and equality is going to come through, but some people are going to have to make adjustments, and we know, you know, which side of the aisle that's going to have to come from. Because I don't think the Dems are going to be moving. You know, we're in a battle. So let's go ahead and go to Friday. And here we have our full moon. It comes in at 2:57 a.m. Pacific, Friday the 29th. And the moon's at 6 degrees up. It's exactly opposing the sun. That's what a full moon is. So now with this full moon energy, there's some, and this has been building up the last couple of days, right? From the 27th on, we have some completion happening. We are really seeing through the lens of the mirror here between, you know, Aries and Libra. Just think of any opposition as being, you know, like the mirrors, one on one side, one on the other. And, you know, is it reflecting the truth back to you in a relationship? Or are you learning that maybe there's just a learning process going on? And we do have to be careful with projection and transference onto others. But when it comes to the Libra, you know, polarity there is more of an emphasis on relationship and all things social, all things that have to do with fairness. And, you know, so maybe there's something that comes through where we've learned, you know, from this process. Now, let's talk about when the moon is full. Either a full moon or a new moon, these principles would apply. So if it's within 3 degrees of any one of your natal planets, or 3 to 5 degrees actually, right? So let's say 3 degrees Aries to 9 degrees Aries on either side, right? This has to do with something that is really important. So if it's like, you know, moon conjunct another planet, you just add the energy of the other planet into the moon. You know, it's like with the tarot cards, you have one card, well, now you have another card, now you read them together. It's the same thing. And so that would be how you would place this. You just have to figure out where 6 degrees Aries is in your chart. And then you can read that for yourself. Now, another way to read it is, it doesn't have to be conjunct. It could be an opposition, right? So you go to the, well, you know, what's at the other side? Well, it's 6 degrees Libra there, 3 to 9 degrees Libra there. Or whatever planet that you have that has any aspect. But I tend to look more, when it comes to the moon, I tend to look more and do the same thing with eclipse, except eclipses is like, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3 degrees tops. But with a new or a full moon, I tend to look at the polarities more. because that's the process of the moon. It's either joined with the sun or it's reflecting the light of the sun. So the full moon influences can last a couple of weeks, right? And so that's important to look at that. And then another thing that could be important is if the full moon lines up at one of your hot points, so your ascendant, your IC, your descendant, or your midheaven, something could come through for you. And so remember, the way I read the ascendant is that the ascendant is always magnetizing because it's you and who you are. So if you have a 6 degrees or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 degrees of Aries ascendant, you could magnetize some new burst of energy to move forward. If it's down here at your descendant, it could be related more to your home life. Or not descendant. I see that. What is it? Imam Coli, something like that. It's Latin. I don't even. It's basically your home base, you know, and your sense of like self, who you are deep down inside. And then also, descendant would be relationships, right? And then midheaven up here, of course, is how you participate with society and career and all of that. So depending where this lands, if it lands at a hot point in your chart, it can be a really powerful full moon this time. So yeah. But because it's at an earlier degree, you know, it's within that first decan of the sign, it could just be that some new energy comes in that you'll just keep working it until you master it, you know, until you have another lunation that comes at a later degree that hits something else. So it all depends on your chart. But anyway, I think that's probably enough for that. But let's look at what this full moon is all about. Well, it's not conjunct yet, but it's building up this conjunction because the moon will connect with Chiron, Eris, and the North Node. So it's in this phasal relationship going on, and we're headed in that direction of knowing our gifts and having the courage to bring them through and walk our path, walk our own unique individual path, and then lots of energy also to joining with others because Mars is in Libra and it's in tight orb to the South Node. So we're headed in the direction of joining with others within the vein of, or I could say the channels of you know, justice and equality and fairness. But it could, like I was saying before, it could bring up some codependency dynamics where, you know, autonomy is always the way to go. Like if you're just your real self in your relationships, you're not going to have troubles. I mean, yeah, we have arguments. We always, you know, that's just a part of life. We're never going to agree with everyone all the time. It doesn't work that way on Earth. And so as long as we can just love each other through our disagreements, then no big deal. But with this dynamic going on, with the lead up from the full moon has released a big cycle of understanding how we have, because remember, the moon has gone from this, you know, upper half where it is very socially oriented, and then we've gone in through this like gestation point, even through Pisces, and we've learned so much about ourselves in relationship with the rest of the world, and now I would say, with this full moon lunation, that we have this brand new sense of who we are, and we can move forward much more strongly in the future. So yeah, so that I see is the main theme for this. And it's a harvest full moon, so I feel like it's harvesting who we really are. But it's a harvest full moon because, of course, it's happened. It has come through right after the you know, first day of fall, first day of autumn. So yeah, what else? Well, notice the sesquisquare here to Venus. So there could be a little stubborn energy, but maybe stubborn is good sometimes. Because Leo energy in this third, this last portion of Leo, I would think that there's some heartfelt strength that is coming through, but maybe the adjustment or the stubbornness, maybe the holding on, is just holding on to loving yourself, and then something new comes through. Because I feel like, Venus to the moon over here, I'll really feel like, yeah, the Aries moon can have a little bit of, well, what do you think? Well, it can be a little argumentative, right? A little impulsive, to say the least. But it can also be very present with the real love, as long as you can wait for it, Just go, let them have their emotional reaction and just love them anyway, and there you go, right? Because things always pass. So yeah. And then, did I miss, let's see, because I know we had some other aspects that that came through. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'll cover it on Saturday. Let's go ahead and go to Saturday. Okay, so if I missed anything, no, we already got the Venus. Well, yeah, okay, so yesterday, I probably should have talked about the exact square to Venus, but I know I covered it even last week. Venus to Uranus. So Venus and Leo, once creative self-expression, especially at this later degree, they're mastering how we express ourselves at this later degree. And with Uranus over here at the later degree, the same thing is going on there. So even though there's this tension field that could be kind of challenging, there will be strength that comes through as because Uranus it's not going to go back too much. I think it goes back to 19 degrees. And then when it goes direct, it'll go direct, I think, next year. Yeah, I think about the end of, it goes through to the end of January next year. When it goes direct, then it's still only going to be at that 19 degrees. It's not going to go back any further than that. And then what happens from there, by then Venus will be way out of orb. So it is important to work this challenge use this to use that. Use the strength of your creative self-expression to just do your own thing. It doesn't have to be my way or the highway. It can be what creates a breakthrough, what creates something new, what creates more liberation, more freedom in your life to just be yourself. That's always the way to go, as long as you're coming from love, as long as you're giving from the love in your heart, from the love of who you truly are. That's it. It's more than enough. There's also, see these two, so we still have the finger of fate going on here, right? But then, oh no, wait, actually it's off. It's okay. It's gone. See that little orb there? It has moved away. But what is going on? Okay, so that has to do with, because Uranus, Uranus to Mars, look at that. Right here. Mars is joined up. Yeah, it's like it's gone okay, let's just focus here. Important thing is here. Uranus at 22 degrees Taurus, Mars at 22 degrees Libra. Now, that could actually work out really well, even though inconjuncts mean that there's an adjustment needed, but the adjustment that is needed is Venusian related, because Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So we've brought Venus now into the mix of Uranus and Mars. So all of that means that, again, back to that heart-centered energy, that could be a big breakthrough, and just the adjustment that is needed in relationship, like just what is needed in relationship. I like that. And then we also have these two inconjuncts coming off of, let's see, 22. Yeah, it's actually, well, the moon, now that the moon is on the other side and has picked up all that steam, I ran it at 10 a.m. Saturday to get all this, the conjunction going on there. But notice what the moon has done. It crossed over Chiron. Like I was saying, Chiron, Aries, and the North Node is now on the other side. And we have these two inconjuncts. So the strength of the moon brought something through, I believe, by Saturday. And Mercury is over here in Virgo, integrating and adapting, because Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, those signs are mutable, so they adapt and they synthesize, maybe is maybe a good word. They bring things together. They're more flexible. And so what has needed to adapt and adjust looks to me like it is all about the strength and the courage of being present for yourself in your own life. And then now with Mercury at this later degree of Virgo, there's some real divine order that's probably coming through where things are more simple. And maybe it's just that you've learned so much more about yourself that that now you know what to do with everything that you have. If you're tracking, if you've been working really hard, like through this whole lunation cycle, with analyzing your false beliefs, and you've worked through to find the truth, the true beliefs, you've taken those false beliefs and flipped them around, and these limitations that you've put upon yourself with your mind, once you figure out what those false beliefs are, then you just flip the script, and from there the adjustment goes back to all this powerful Aries energy and says, okay, now I have a new way to go. Now I really have something new, a new part of myself that I didn't have access to in the past. So, yeah, let's see. Anything else? I think that might be, well, you can see how the moon, we have a triple square to, yeah, I have to talk about this, and then we'll probably be about done. We still have that grand Earth trine going on, though. Or it came back, actually, because not the sun isn't involved this time, it's Mercury. So yeah, so again, we really do have to talk about that. We've got a kite going on here. Okay, so just when I thought I was done, there's a lot going on. So there's just more of an emphasis by the end of this week on having more strength, because your intuition is working in a new way than a new and bigger, bolder, self-assertive in a good way, positive self-aggression or self-assertion, I should say. Because the square it's at one end of the square to Pluto in that T-square with the nodes, and then Mars is over here involved in the T-square to the nodes. Mars wasn't involved last week. So I think there's more relationship, the force, I don't know about the force, well, force in a good way, like the forces of love that come together in relationship, and it's all in a powerful way. Now, this could be that there's more power in fighting corruption with this dynamic. And that new energy that's coming through with the Aries moon at that late degree, there's some new level of oomph. It's like, let's take Mars is over here at one end, but Mars rules this end. Pluto's up here, Capricorn in the government and corruption and all that. Things are coming out. And then here we have, I keep thinking of Sheldon Whitehouse again. And then we have the kite aspect here. Neptune is at the point, so the wool is off. The wool around the eyes, the rose-colored glasses, it's dissolving something. There's some dissolving of, because details are out, and because Mercury in Virgo is at the tail, so the rudder that's flying the kite is, hey, look at this, we have the facts. So whether this is personal or political, we have new facts that have been gathered and tracked, and now there's this new level of discernment that can powerfully play into whatever you're trying to break through and manifest. And because we've got this grand Earth trine plus the kite, this is fantastic. And then Saturn here is trining the South Node, like it has been. So again, there's that, spiritually sourced, based foundation, and then the wisdom of the past that can help you. And hopefully in Libra, there's also help from other, other people, relationships. Yay! Okay, well, that's it. Thanks, you guys. Take good care. Let me know how you're doing. Bye.